Welcome everyone to this explainer. Today, we're diving into Chapter 10, which tackles a topic that absolutely trips up so many new entrepreneurial ventures, and that's marketing. If you've ever felt like marketing is just coming up with catchy slogans or buying flashy ads, well, actually, scratch that. It's a whole different paradigm now. Let's explore the real engine of modern business growth together.
To really figure this out, we're pulling our insights directly from the 12th edition of Donald F. Caradico's text, Entrepreneurship Theory, Process, Practice. And what immediately stands out here is that modern marketing isn't just yelling at people to buy your stuff. It's actually this incredibly dynamic, continuous loop of digital connection, deep research, and genuine conversation.
So, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The new marketing reality. 2. Discovering your target market. 3. Connecting digitally with customers. 4. Understanding consumer buying behavior. 5. Creating a marketing plan. And finally, 6. Smart venture pricing strategies.
Okay, Section 1, the new marketing reality. Let's look at how dramatically the world of marketing has shifted away from just selling.
For decades, businesses basically worship the traditional 4 Ps: product, promotion, price, and place. But the modern entrepreneur, you are facing a totally different landscape. We've traded the Ps in for the 4 Cs. You aren't just making a product in a vacuum anymore. Your offerings are co-created directly with users. Instead of blasting out broad promotion, you're building actual communities. Rather than a fixed price, your offerings are customizable. And instead of a physical place, you offer digital choice. You are dealing with Generation C, consumers who are connected, creative, collaborative, and contextual. Your venture absolutely has to be built around them.
Section 2. Discovering your target market. To offer those highly customizable choices, you first have to know what your audience actually wants.
And it all starts with marketing research. Now, I know that phrase can sound super intimidating, but at its core, marketing research is really just focused curiosity. It's the process of gathering and then analyzing information about a specific market. You don't need $1 million corporate budget here, you just need a structured way to answer fundamental questions, like who are my customers and why do they actually buy?
When you dive into that research, you essentially have 2 main buckets of information. First up is secondary data. Think of this as reading someone else's homework. It's already been compiled by industry groups or the government. The big advantage? It's usually cheap, sometimes even free, and highly accessible. The downside, though, is it might be outdated or just lack the specific details you really need. Then you have primary data. This is the information you go out and gather specifically for your own venture through surveys, focus groups, or real-world experiments. It definitely takes more work, but it answers your exact questions.
Once you have that primary data, how do you analyze it? Well, you can take a quantitative approach, which is like casting a massive net for objective numerical measurements. This is perfect for broad statistical analysis. Or you can dive deep with qualitative research, relying on smaller samples and actual conversations to uncover the emotional why behind consumer actions. The best entrepreneurs, they almost always use a mix of both to see the full picture.
Moving right along to Section 3, Connecting Digitally with Customers. Let's see how to reach these folks where they already hang out.
Today, that primarily means social media. But here is the truly terrifying part for traditional corporate marketers. You literally have to relinquish some control over your message. You have to allow room for audience contribution. And because you can't tightly script what users are going to say, building deep, authentic trust is absolutely essential. It transforms marketing from a simple monologue into genuine two-way communication. Let's face it, if your customers aren't talking back to you, you aren't doing social media marketing, you're just broadcasting. Plus, because customers consume all this media on the go, a solid mobile strategy is critical. It relies on the framework of the 4 Is. You've got to integrate seamlessly into their daily lives and individualize the experience based on their unique preferences. You need to involve them dynamically and ultimately initiate the creation of user-generated content. Mobile devices are deeply personal to people, so your strategy has to respect and leverage that exact portability.
Which brings us to Section 4, Understanding Consumer Buying Behavior. Let's decode what actually makes a person click buy.
The absolute first rule of understanding buying behavior is accepting that you cannot be everything to everyone. You just can't. You have to practice market segmentation. This is the process of slicing the massive pie of the general public into specific, manageable pieces. You identify characteristics, things like age, income, geographic location, or the specific benefits they desire, to separate your ideal consumers from the rest of the pack. Because truthfully, if you try to sell to everyone, you inevitably end up selling to no one.
Once you've segmented your market, your approach really depends on your core philosophy. Historically, businesses were stubbornly production-driven. They focused entirely on efficiently making a product and just assumed, hey, people will buy it. Later, they became sales-driven, aggressively pushing products onto shelves whether people actually wanted them or not. But the secret to today's most successful ventures? They are entirely consumer-driven. They find the buyer's unarticulated needs first, and then they work backward to create the product.
And why must you be consumer-driven? Well, just look at the traits of the contemporary consumer. They are incredibly informed about your competitors. They are highly vocal and opinionated online. They aren't just looking for a product anymore. They are eager for seamless solutions to their problems. And they expect your business to proactively anticipate their needs. They want to avoid excessive ads, they compare brands instantly, and they want to feel like they are part of a community. If your venture isn't proactive, they'll bounce to a competitor who is, in a heartbeat.
Section 5. Creating a marketing plan. To manage all this complex knowledge, you have to get your strategy out of your head and onto paper.
A comprehensive marketing plan is your ultimate tool here, and it's not just a checklist, it's a continuous cycle. You compile your current marketing research, analyze your sales data, manage that flow through an information system, accurately forecast future sales, and most importantly, perform regular evaluation. That last point is huge. A marketing plan is not some static document you write once and toss in a desk drawer. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that you must evaluate and adjust constantly as your venture grows.
Finally, Section 6. Smart venture pricing strategies. This is often the most stressful hurdle for any new entrepreneur.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How much should you actually charge? It's so tempting to just look at your costs, slap on a 10% margin, and call it a day. But pricing is heavily influenced by human psychology, market buying power, and the life cycle of the product itself. In a lot of cases, customers actually interpret the quality of your product directly through its price tag.
When launching a new product, entrepreneurs generally look at two completely distinct strategies. First up is the skimming strategy. Think of a wildly anticipated, super expensive new smartphone launch. You set a deliberately high initial price to maximize short-term profit, offset your research and development costs, and immediately establish this high-quality, premium brand image. Alternatively, you have the penetration strategy. Think of a brand new streaming service offering a ridiculously cheap first year. You set a very low price, sometimes even taking a temporary loss, to rapidly grab market share and lock out competitors before they even notice you're there.
What is really fascinating about product life cycles is that your price literally cannot stay the same forever. It has to evolve. You might start out with skimming during the introductory stage to establish quality, right? But as competitors inevitably enter during the growth and maturity stages, you have to shift toward demand-oriented pricing, adapting to those increasingly price-sensitive customers. Eventually, down the road in the decline stage, you might even use the product as a loss leader, pricing it below cost just to get customers in the door so they'll buy your newer product lines.
And we really can't talk about pricing today without highlighting the unique models born out of the social media age. You can use a freemium model, giving the basic software away totally for free while charging for those premium upgrades. You can leverage affiliate traffic, run subscription services, sell entirely virtual goods within an app, or monetize pure attention through an advertising model. The digital era gives you tremendous creative flexibility. You aren't just limited to selling a single physical item anymore, and that is huge.
Well, we've covered an incredible amount of ground today, from completely redefining marketing itself to digging into some pretty complex pricing mechanics. But I want to leave you with a final thought to apply directly to your own journey. Look back at those modern 4 C's we started with: co-created, communities, customizable, and choice. If you launched your own venture today, right now, which of those 4 would be your absolute biggest competitive advantage? Understanding the answer to that question is your very first step in building a truly customer-driven business. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see the incredible ventures you all build.